Hello and welcome to engineering drawing session. In this session, we will discuss epicycloid, hypocycloid, spiral, and helix. In our last session, we have discussed how to draw involute and cycloid, but in today's session, we will discuss how to draw epicycloid, hypocycloid, spiral, and helix. Now let me move further to see how to draw epicycloid. Let me read out problem while going to the procedure to draw epicycloid. Draw a locus of a point on the periphery of the circle which rolls on a curved path. Take diameter of rolling circle 50 mm and radius of directing circle, that is curved path, is 75 mm. As we are discussed in our last session, cycloid means the curve traced by a point or the path traced by a point on the circumference of the circle when it rolls on a straight line without slipping is nothing but cycloid. Now in this case, epicycloid means a circle is going to roll on another circle or a curved path. The path traced by a point on the circumference of the circle is known as epicycloid. In this case, the cycloid is going to move above the generating curve, means above a circular path, is called the epicycloid. When the generating circle rolls below the generating circle or below the directing circle is called hypocycloid. I repeat this, when a circle rolls above the directing circle is called the epicycloid. When the circle rolls below the directing circle, that is called hypocycloid. In our previous session, we have seen we have traced a path of the point which is on the circumference of the circle on a straight line is called cycloid. But now we are going to draw epicycloid and hypocycloid. Epicycloid means a circle is going to roll on a curved path above the curved path. That is called epicycloid. If a circle rolls below the curved path, then that is called hypocycloid. In this case, in the case of epicycloid and hypocycloid, we have a circle with some diameter, and that circle is going to roll on another circle that is called the directing circle with some radius. This is what the problem. In this case, the rolling circle or the generating circle is 50 mm diameter, or the directing circle or curved path is 75 mm diameter or 75 mm radius. In this case, the directing circle or the curved path radius is 75 mm and the rolling circle diameter is 50 mm. With this given data, we need to draw epicycloid. Now, draw the directing circle, directing curve with a given radius, that is 75 mm, like this. In this case, the directing circle radius is 75 mm. By taking that 75 mm as radius, draw a curve up to a certain length. Then draw a circle. That circle is going to roll on this directing circle or a curve. Then draw a circle That circle is a generating circle above this curve like this. Then divide this generating circle into convenient equal number of divisions. This is generating or rolling circle. This circle is going to roll on this curved path. In turn, we are calling this as directing circle. Now, how much distance this generating or rolling circle needs to move? That distance in this case is one revolution. For one revolution of this, for one revolution moment of this generating circle, we need to draw this cycloid or the locus of a point on the circumference of this generating circle. That distance is pi d distance. So to calculate how much angle, because this circle is rolling or moving in angular path, so we require the angle of the sector, because we have a sector here, and on this sector this generating circle is rolling without slipping, so that we also require how much angle this rolling circle or the generating circle needs to rotate. That angle can be calculated by using one formula. Theta is equal to small r by capital R into 360 degrees will gives us the angular distance this generating or rolling circle needs to rotate. I repeat this angle can be calculated using one formula. Small r by capital R into 360 degrees will gives us how much angle this generating circle needs to rotate. After calculating that, then divide this generating circle into convenient equal number of divisions. Say, in this case, I am dividing generating circle into 8 equal divisions like this. Then name all those divisions from 1 to 8 like this. Now indicate a point at the of starting point of a point, or locate a point on the circumference of the generating circle at the bottom of the circle. In this case, I am assuming I am naming this point as P. Then I have named all these points, divided points, as 1 to 8 like this. The starting point of the point on the circumference of the circle is at the bottom of the circle like this. Now draw the sectors. Draw the sectors or the arcs by taking O1, O2, O3 as radius. Draw the concentric arcs like this. From O as a center, O4 as radius, draw a concentric arc to the directing circle. Then draw an arc. Before that, you are calculated the angle, and with that angle, draw a line with the specified angle like this. Then draw the concentric arcs. Before that, divide this sector, angle sector, into equal number of divisions that were divided in the case of the generating circle. In the case of generating circle, we are divided into 8 equal divisions, and those 8 equal divisions needs to be divided in the case of this sector also. Now divide this sector into 8 equal divisions like this. Then after dividing this sector into 8 equal divisions, then take OC as radius with O as center. Draw an arc which is concentric to the directing circle. Then take O1 as radius. Then draw a concentric circle, O3 as radius, and draw one more concentric circle up to the end point or the end line of the sector like this. After drawing the concentric circles, then take CP as radius in our compass. Then locate the centers. We have a concentric arc which is passed from the center of the generating circle. Then locate the centers on that arc like this. And this is our first line, first division of the sector, second division, third division, and these lines, these intersecting points will become centers to get the points to draw epicycloid. Then locate the centers like this, where the concentric arc at the center of the generating circle and the divided lines, we have some intersection points. We have all the intersection points. Those intersection points will become centers, and name all those points from C1 to C8 like this. As I said just now, these points, these intersection points will become centers to get the points to draw epicycloid. Now take CP as radius in compass with C1 as center. Then intersect the first arc, first concentric arc, which is passed from 1 and 7 points on the generating or rolling circle. So if we take CP as center with C1 as radius, intersect this 1, 7 or the concentric arc which is passing from 1 and 7, you will get 1 point here. Then take same CP as radius with C2 as center. Then intersect second concentric circle or the arc which is passing from 2 and 6. So you will get one more intersecting point on this curve. Then C3 as a center. Intersect the concentric arc which is passed from 3 and 5 points on the generating circle. You will get one more point and locate that point on 3, 5 concentric arc. Then take C4 as a center. Then intersect the fourth concentric arc which is originated from the fourth division on the generating circle. Then similarly take C5 as center, intersect fifth concentric arc, then sixth, seventh and eighth finally. Then locate the points. As you can observe, with C1 as center, we got one intersection point which is on the first concentric arc that I am naming as P1, and this will become P2, and this will become P3, P4, P5, P6, P7 and P8 like this. Then join all these points as a smooth curve using French curves or by freehand. You will get a curve. That curve is known as epicycloid. Epicycloid means, as I defined, the path traced by a point on the circumference of the circle when it rolls on a circular path. That circular path we are calling as a directing circle. The circle which is rolling on the arc is called generating circle. This procedure is adopted to draw epicycloid. I repeat this procedure once again. As I said just now, we have two circles. One is directing circle, the other one is the rolling circle or the generating circle, which is responsible to draw the cycloid. As I also said, defined just now, epicycloid means the path traced by a point on the circumference of the circle when it rolls on a circular path without slipping is nothing but epicycloid. Now draw a circle, directing circle with a given radius on which the generating circle is going to roll. Then draw a generating circle with a given radius. In this case, the diameter is 50 with 25 mm radius. Draw a circle on the directing circle which is tangent to the directing circle. That means the radius here, the directing circle radius is 75. The radius of the generating circle is 25. So locate a center on this line, and with that center, we can draw 25 mm as radius. Exactly that circle will become tangent to the directing circle on which the generating circle is going to roll without slipping. Then after drawing this generating circle and directing circle, then divide this circle, generating circle, into equal number of divisions, convenient equal number of division. In this case, I am dividing the circle into 8 equal divisions. Name all those points from 1 to 8 in clockwise direction like this. The numbering should start from left to right. That means in the clockwise direction. After giving numbering to the divisions, then calculate or locate the point for which we are going to track the path. We are going to draw the locus. We are calling that as a cycloid later. Now after locating the point, which is exactly at the bottom of the circle or the generating circle like this, then calculate because this circle is going to move in the angular path. In this case, we require the angular distance, or from, which angle, how much angle this circle is going to rotate. So that angle we need to calculate using one formula, that is equal to small r by capital R into 360 degrees will gives us the angle that generating circle is going to rotate, that we will get. So after calculating the generating the sector angle on which the generating circle is going to rotate, then locate the angle like this, locate the angle and draw the end line up to the angle, sector angle. Then divide this sector into equal number of divisions that we have done in the case of generating circle. In the case of generating circle, we are divided into 8 equal divisions, and those 8 equal divisions needs to be divided in the case of sector also. After dividing the sector into 8 equal divisions like this, then draw the concentric circles from the divided points on the generating circle or rolling circle like this. First, draw the circle, draw the concentric arc, otherwise concentric arc, draw the arc which is concentric to the directed circle from the center point of the generating circle up to the end line of the sector. Then after drawing the concentric arcs to the directing circle like this from all the points of the generating or rolling circle, then locate the centers where the sector lines, then the concentric circles are intersecting. Locate the centers like this, on which exactly we have one arc, concentric arc, which is passed from the center of the generating circle on which locate the centers like this. Name all those centers as C1 to C8 like this. That means these C1 to C8 will become centers to generate the curve or to locate the points. After locating the points, we are going to connect all those points to get a smooth curve. We are calling that curve as epicycloid. After locating the center points, then take CP as radius with C1 as center. Intersect the first concentric arc to the directing arc. Like this, you will get one intersecting point here. With C2 as center, intersect the second concentric arc to the directing circle. Then similarly, intersect the third concentric arc, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and finally eighth. Locate all those points and name all those points as P1 to P8. And after naming all those points, join all those points as a smooth curve using French curves or by hand as a smooth curve. That curve is called epicycloid. Then I move further to see what is hypocycloid. As we have seen in the previous figure or previous slide, how to draw the epicycloid, but now we are going to draw the hypocycloid. In the case of hypocycloid, the circle, the generating circle is going to roll under the circle, under the directing circle. Whereas in the case of epicycloid, the directing circle, the generating circle moved above the directing circle. But now in the case of hypocycloid, the generating circle is going to move or roll under the directing circle. Like this, we will see how to draw the cycloid when the generating circle rolls in the curved path without slipping, when the path traced by a point on the circumference of the circle is called hypocycloid. Now let us see what will be the procedure. I read out the problem here now. Draw a locus of a point on the periphery of the circle which rolls inside of a curved path. Take diameter of the rolling circle as 50 mm and radius of the directing circle as 75 mm, and these dimensions are similar to the previous dimensions that we have done in the case of epicycloid. Now in this case, draw a directing circle first. In this case, the directing circle radius will become 75 plus 25 radius of the generating circle like this. After drawing the directing circle, then draw the generating circle with the given radius, that is 25 here, and the diameter is 50. After drawing the generating circle, then locate the center, then calculate the sector angle using the formula theta is equal to small r by capital R into 360 degrees will gives us how much angle this generating circle needs to rotate, needs to move along the curved path. So theta gives us that angle. Then after calculating the angle, sector angle, and close the sector, then with the calculated angle, then divide the circle into equal number of divisions, convenient equal number of divisions. say in this case, I'm dividing 8 equal divisions like this. And before that, we can divide this sector into the convenient equal number of divisions that we have done in the case of the generating circle. The generating circle, I'm going to divide 8 equal divisions so that I'm dividing this sector into 8 equal divisions now. After dividing the sector into 8 equal divisions, then draw a concentric arc, or draw an arc which is concentric to the directing circle, directing arc from the center point of the generating circle like this. Then after drawing the concentric arc to the directing arc and locate the centers from C1 to C8 like this, then draw the concentric arcs from the divided locations or the divided points on the generating circle like this. Then after drawing the concentric arcs, then take and locate the point here now. Locate the points here with radius of the generating circle. Take the compass and take the radius of the generating circle with C1 as center. Intersect the first concentric arc, then on the second concentric arc, then intersect the third concentric arc, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, and locate the points where you are intersected all these concentric arcs. Then after locating the points, then join all these points will give us the hypocycloid. The procedure is same, except that the circle is rolling under the directing arc, whereas in the case of epicycloid, the generating circle is rolling above the directing circle without slipping, is called the epicycloid in that case. But now in this case, we are calling this as hypocycloid because the generating circle is rolling under the directing circle without slipping. Then I repeat this once again. As we have seen what is epicycloid, in this case also we have directing circle and generating circle. Draw the directing circle with a radius of 75 and add 25 mm to that, and after that divide this circle and calculate the sector angle. Calculate the sector angle, then close the sector with that angle. Then divide the sector into 8 equal divisions like this. With this same number of divisions, we are going to divide the generating circle. And after dividing this sector into convenient equal number of divisions, in this case, I have divided into 8 equal divisions. But now I am going to draw an arc which is concentric to the directing circle from the center point of the generating circle like this up to the end of the sector like this. This curve is going to intersect the divided lines of the sector. We will get all the intersection points. Those intersection points will become the center points to get the points to draw the hypocycloid like this, and name all those points as centers C1 to C8 like this. Then divide the circle, divide the generating circle into 8 equal divisions as we have done in the case of sector. Then draw the concentric circles, concentric arcs, or draw the arcs which are concentric to the directing circle like this from the divided points on the generating circles. Then take the radius of the generating circle in the compass with C1 as center, intersect the first concentric arc, then similarly second, third, and this is our first with C1 as center, then C2 as center, intersect the second curve, then with C3 as center, intersect the third curve, then C4, C5, then C6, C7 and up to C8. Join all these points to get a smooth curve. That curve is called hypocycloid. As of now, I said with you how to draw epicycloid and hypocycloid. The procedure of epicycloid and hypocycloid is same, except that in the case of epicycloid, the directing circle is going to roll on a circular path above the directing circle. In the case of hypocycloid, the directing circle is going to roll under the directing circle. In both the cases, the curve is nothing but the path traced by a point and the circumference of the circle when it rolls on a curved path is called the epi or hypocycloid based on the generating circle, whether it is rolling above the circle, whether it is rolling below the directing circle. Based on that, we will decide whether it is epicycloid or hypocycloid. Now let me move further to see what is spiral. In our last session, I was already defined what is spiral. Spiral is nothing but the path traced by a point when it is revolving about a center or about a point. And similarly, and that point also moves towards the point. The path traced by a point when it is revolving about a point, and as well as that point is going to move towards that point, is called the spiral. The path traced by a point when that point moves towards a point along with the rotation about that point is called spiral. Now let us see how to draw the spiral now. I read out problem now. Draw a spiral of one convolution. Take distance OP as 40 mm. That means we have a center point at a distance of 40 mm. We have a point, and that point is at a distance of 40 mm from the origin or from the fixed point. About that point, a point is going to revolve, and as well as this point is also going to move towards the fixed point or towards the origin. In that case, if we draw or if you trace the path of that point, that path is called spiral. Now, the most important point to remember while constructing the spiral is we require how much distance this point needs to move towards a point. In this case is already given. The 40 mm is the distance, and how much find the total angular. Now with how much angle this point needs to rotate, and as well as how much distance this point needs to move towards the fixed point. So we require two parameters. One is how much angle and how much distance the point needs to move and as well as rotate towards a fixed point or an origin. So these two parameters are required to draw the spiral. Spiral requires two parameters. One is how much distance and how much angle, whether it is 360 degrees, whether it is 180 degrees, whether it is two revolutions, that means 720 degrees. We require the angle and as well as the distance. Now let us see the procedure. So locate a point at a distance of 40 mm, or first draw a circle with a given distance. In this case, the given distance is 40 mm. And after drawing a circle with a given distance, with that radius, after drawing a circle, divide the circle into convenient equal number of divisions. Say in this case, I'm dividing the circle into 8 equal divisions. I'm naming all those divisions as 1 to 8 like this in the anti-clockwise direction, as you can see in this figure. After dividing the circle into convenient equal number of divisions, then divide the radius also into the same number of divisions that we have done in the case of circle. In this case, we have divided this circle into 8 equal divisions, so that I am dividing the radius of the same circle into 8 equal divisions. If we divide the circle into 12 equal divisions, the same number of equal divisions we have to do in the case of the radius also needs to divide into 12 equal divisions like this. So assume this center point has O here now, and the OP is also divided into 8 equal divisions here. Then take O1 and name all those points as 1 to 8 like this. From the P point, I am naming the points as 1 to 8 like this. Then take O1 as radius with O as center, draw an arc up to first division line on the circle like this. R with O1 as radius with O as a center, intersect the first division line of the circle. Then take O2 as a center with O2 as radius with O as center, intersect the second line like this. Then O3 as radius, O as center, get the point 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7 like this. Then locate point P at 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and up to 8. Then join all those points to get a smooth curve. That curve is called the spiral. So name all those points, intersecting points as P1 to P8. Then join all those points using a French curve or by hand smoothly to get a curve. That curve is called spiral of one convolution. I repeat this spiral once again. Basically, we require two parameters to draw the spiral. One is the distance and the other one is the angle is also required. I mean, how much angle the point is going to revolve around a fixed point and how much distance the point is moving. So these two are very, very important, are the required parameters to construct a spiral. Now let us see. The angle in this case is one convolution and the distance is 40 mm. With a 40 mm radius, draw a circle like this. Then divide this circle into convenient equal number of divisions. Say in this case, I am dividing 8 equal divisions like this. Then name all those divisions as 1 to 8 as shown in this figure in anti-clockwise direction like this. Then divide the radius also into the same number of divisions as we have done in the case of the circle. Then name all those points from 1 to 8 like this. Then take O1 as radius with O as center. Then get the first point and draw an arc to intersect the first line at this location. Then take O2 as radius and intersect the second line of the circle, then third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and up to 8. Then locate the points where the radius is intersected to the divided lines. Then locate the points like this up to 1 to 8. Then name all those points as P1 to P8. Name all those points as P1 to P8. Then join all those points to get a curve, to get a smooth curve. And that curve is known as spiral of one convolution, as we have seen just now. Next, we will see the spiral of two convolutions. Now, I read out a problem. a point P is 80 mm from point O. It starts moving towards O and reaches it into two convolutions around it. Draw locus of the point. That means in this case, it is a spiral. It is rotating about a point, two revolutions, means 720 degrees. Then it is moving towards that point from a distance. That distance is 80 mm. Now first, draw a circle with a given radius. Here the given distance is 80 mm. With that 80 mm, draw a circle, then divide the radius into the equal number of divisions. First, before dividing this radius into equal number of divisions, divide the circle into convenient equal number of divisions. So in this case, I am dividing into 8 equal divisions. Okay, 8 equal divisions. Then after, because the point is going to revolve two revolutions, so that I am giving the numbering from 0 to 16. From one revolution, it will be from 1 to 8, and for the other revolutions, it is from 9 to 16, like this. Then divide the radius into the equal number of divisions. In this case, the divisions are 16, and similarly, divide this radius is also into 16 equal number of divisions, like this. Then name all those points from 1 to 16 like this. Then take O1 as radius, then get the point 1, then O2 as radius, then intersect the second line, third, and complete all these iterations up to 16. After getting all these points, then locate the points like this and name all those points as P1 to P16, P1 to P16. Then join all those points to get a smooth curve of spiral of two convolutions. That means the point is starting at a distance of 80 mm, and this point is moving towards the center. At the same time, while reaching this point to the center, this point is going to revolve two revolutions. I mean, to reach this point from 80 mm distance to the origin point, it is tracing one path. So that path is called the spiral. In this case, it is rotating two convolutions like this, means two revolutions. That means after revolving the two revolutions, this point is going to reach the center point or origin. Until to move this point to the origin, it is going to revolve two revolutions or 720 degrees. This is called the spiral of two convolutions. Now let me move further to see what are other types. Then we have the other engineering curve, that is helix. Helix is nothing but the path traced by a point on the circumference of the cylinder, and when it is moving along the axis, it is revolving, and as well as it is rotating along the axis. That is called helix. The path traced by a point on the circumference of the circle when it is revolving around the cylindrical surface, as well as it is moving along the axis of the cylinder, is called helix. It is revolving and as well as it is moving along the axis of the cylinder. In that case, the path traced by a point is called helix. Now let me take one problem. Draw a helix of one convolution upon a cylinder, given that 80 mm pitch and 50 mm diameter of the cylinder. Here 80 mm pitch means for one revolution of the point on the circumference of the cylinder, the point is going to advance 80 mm distance. That means for one revolution of the point on the circumference of the cylinder, the point is going to move 80 mm distance along the axis of the cylinder. That means the point is going to advance 80 mm distance in one revolution along the surface of the cylinder. So is called helix. So now let us see with these dimensions how to draw helix. First, draw the front view and the top view of the cylinder with the given dimensions. In this case, the height of the cylinder is 80 because the point is moving 80 mm distance along the axis and the diameter as 50 mm. Draw the projections of the cylinder like this. The cylinder in front view looks like a rectangle. In the top view, it looks like the cylinder. Then after drawing the projections of the cylinder with the given dimensions, then divide the circle into convenient equal number of divisions like this. In this case, I am dividing the 8 equal divisions. Now name all those points as 1 to 8 like this. In this case, I am locating the point, the starting point at this location so that I am marking all these points from these points in anti-clockwise direction from 1 to 8. After dividing the circle and after naming all those points, locate the point and project all these points, division points, on the front view like this, and assume the point, the generating point, is exactly at this location before moving this point. This is the starting point of the helix. Then after projecting all these points on the front view of the cylinder, then project all these points, division points, onto the front view. Then divide the height of the cylinder also into the equal number of divisions that we have done in the case of circle. Then after dividing, so in this case we have divided circle into 8 equal divisions. Then the height of the cylinder also needs to be divided into 8 equal divisions. Name all those points as 1 to 8 like this. Then locate the points like this. So we are projected the division points to the front view. So first line is this, and first horizontal line and first projected line, both the lines will intersect at this location. Then second will intersect at this location, second division line and second division line on the front view and on the side view will intersect at this point. Then the third and third will fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Then name all those points, intersection points, as P1 to P8 like this. So this point is moving on the circumference of the cylinder. At the same time, this point is rotating and as well as advancing along the axis of the cylinder. So the path traced by this point is called helix. The path traced by a point, when the point moves on the circumference of the cylinder along the axis and as well as the rotation. So now this point is at this location. As you can observe in this figure, this point is rotating and as well as moving along the axis of the cylinder. The path traced by the point when it is rotating and as well as moving along the axis is called helix. Now join all those points. Exactly, the point is moving from the starting point to the P1 point to P4. It is a thick line because this is front side. So during the 180 degrees of rotation, you can see clearly the location of the point. But after that, this point will go backside so that the path traced by the point from P5 to P8 will be a dotted line. You cannot see that point location or the path of that path, so that I am indicating that line as dashed line. So this procedure is adopted to draw the helix. Then I repeat the procedure of the helix once again. Draw a helix of one convolution upon a cylinder given 80 mm pitch and 50 mm diameter of a cylinder. Here 50 mm pitch means while moving the point is advancing 80 mm distance in one revolution. In one revolution, the point is advancing 80 mm distance. That means the point is moving 80 mm distance along the axis of the cylinder. Or in one revolution, the point is going to move 80 mm distance along the axis of the cylinder. Now the path traced by a point on the circumference of the cylinder with these dimensions is called helix. Now first draw the circle with 50 mm diameter, or first draw the projections of the cylinder with 80 mm height, because the the point is going to move 80 mm distance along the axis of the cylinder. With the 80 mm height, draw the front view of the cylinder and top view of the cylinder with 50 mm diameter, or else draw the projections of the cylinder with height 80 mm and radius 50 mm. Then divide the top view into 8 equal divisions. Name all those points as 1 to 8 in anti-clockwise direction and project all those points onto the front view. Then divide the length of the cylinder is also into equal number of divisions. So that we have done in the case of the cylinder. Then name all those points as 1 to 8. Then project and draw the horizontal lines from the divided points on the front view and the projected points in the from the top view and from the side view, from the front view and from the top view will intersect, and locate all those points. 1 1 will intersect here, and 2 2 will intersect here, 3 3 will intersect here, third and third, then fourth will get at this location, then fifth, sixth, seventh and eighth, like this. Then join all those points to get a smooth curve, and up to P1 to P4 we will get a thick line so that we can see the locus of that point clearly after rotating 180 degrees. That means to move point P to P4, it takes 180 degrees angle. Then after that, then during the remaining 180 degrees of rotation, this point will move backside to the cylinder, so that I am indicating that path as a dotted line here. So this is called the helix upon a cylinder. Now let us see helix on a cone. Now the path traced by a point on the circumference of the cone, which moves along the axis, which rotates, the point rotates along the axis and as well as moves along the axis. So this is called the helix upon the cone. Now divide the project the points, then draw the projections of the helix with the given dimensions. In this case, the given dimensions are base of the cone as 70 mm and axis as 90 mm and pitch is also 90 mm. So with 90 mm height of the cone and the base diameter as 70 mm, draw the projections of the cone like this. In front view, in top view we will get a circle like this. In front view we will get a triangle like this for a cone. Then divide the top view into convenient equal number of divisions. Then name all those points as 1 to 8 like this, and locate the starting point of the location of the tracing point. Then project the divided points onto the cone like this. Then divide the slant length of the cone into the same number of divisions as we have done in the case of circle. In circle, we are divided 8 equal divisions, and divide the slant length of the cone into the same 8 equal divisions, and name all those points as 1 to 8 like this, and draw the horizontal lines from all those points. The projected lines from the top view and the projected lines from the front view will intersect at the different locations. Locate the intersection points 1 to 1 and 2 to 2 and up to 8 to 8 to get the tracing points of the curve. Now 1 and 1 will intersect here, then 2 from the top view and 2 from the front view will intersect here, then 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and up to 8. Then project all those points or name all those points first with P1 to P8 like this. Then after naming all those points as P1 to P8, join all those points to get a smooth curve. While moving the point P from initial point to P4, it looks like a thick line. That means in front view you can see the movement of the point clearly in this path. Then it will move backwards. So that we are going to indicate as a dotted line like this. This is what the curve on the circumference of the cone. Then now let us draw the top view also. Now project all these points like this. Then second point you are projected here. First you are able to project here. Then second you are projected here. And with that radius and intersect a point here. Then third point you project here. Then fourth point that will be exactly on this location. Then fifth, sixth, and sixth is exactly coming up to the horizontal line and with that radius and locate here. Then seventh, eighth, then locate all those points, join all those points as a smooth curve to get a helix and a cone like this. Then thank you for this session. And in this session we have seen how to draw the cycloid, epicycloid, hypocycloid. Then we have seen the spiral on cylinder spiral. Then we have seen the helix on the cylinder, helix on the cone. In the next class we will see how to draw the tangents of the cycloid, epicycloid. Then I move further to see the orthographic projections in the next session. So thank you one and all. We will meet once again.